welcome to our check-ins. And we're going to be using this time these are our check-ins where we actually give you topics to discuss and to think about as a married couple. But we have this idea that we've been talking about. We're going to do a summary of a marriage, what I like to call check-in. A marriage check-in is actually one of the things I really encourage as a couples counselor. I will encourage couples to engage in, to kind of transition and kind of be the long-term reflective tool that can really enhance your marriage. And so I want you to buckle your seat. We're going to go through 5 parts to having a check-in on your marriage. Is that a good summary?
Yes, the 5 P's of making sure that you and your husband connect and look into how you're doing.
And so grab a pen. We're going to talk about why we do it, and then we're going to go through them very quickly so that you can have your marriage check-in. The whole idea of the 5 P's comes from this idea of a State of the Union meeting. It's a time when you can be able to, in your marriage, have a time to talk about how we are doing.
Yes.
The first P of the 5 P's is praise, where you're going to spend about, let's say, 10, 15 minutes literally praising your spouse. How do you do this? Come up. I would like you, before you meet, I would like you to write down 3 qualities you really appreciate about your spouse from that week. But it has to be qualities of character, qualities in their being that you would give. Is that a good summary?
Yes. Like, for example, I would like to thank you for buying me flowers this week just because. Just to say that you appreciate me and you love me and you think I'm amazing. And I'm grateful for that.
Yep. So you would thank you very much. And you would sort of think like, man, I one of the qualities she would probably have written down is thoughtful.
Thoughtful.
So you say thoughtful, and then she would say 2 more words, or I would say 2 more words, and then you take turns just praising each other for those qualities. The only thing you can say is
Thank you.
That's the first P. That should take you about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. The second P is you're going to spend about 15 minutes planning the fun stuff. Second P, planning the fun stuff. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean just talking about, yeah, we should go to a movie this week. Maybe that would be nice. Oh, yeah, maybe we should. It's going to be what? It's going to be?
Actually talking about things you want to do. Like, for example, I want to swim a couple of times this week. So we'll actually sit and put that down.
We'll put that down in your calendar. In other words, planning the fun stuff. Fun is serious business. And if as a couple you don't make sure to plan your times together that are enjoyable, life will just sweep you along in its course.
Yep.
And so, for example, you have your date books open. Please do not just do this off the top of your head.
Because you won't remember.
You won't remember, or on your calendar, on your phone, and you say, okay, so we know that on July 12th, August 15th, this week, we're going to be going to that jazz concert downtown because it has this such and such and such.
We really are. We're going to see Aretha Franklin.
And we're gonna be having a babysitter.
That's right.
But you put it up. But the key is to plan the fun stuff as a couple. Don't leave it open. Get it locked in, and so you have it in your calendar. But you have some fun brainstorming, and then you just put it down. Second P, plan the fun stuff. Should take you about 10, 15 minutes.
Yep.
And the third P is simply,
Practicals.
now here's what I mean by practicals. I like to call this the dull stuff. In other words, this is going to be a time where you're going to be planning out things like who's going to be doing laundry, doctor's appointments, who's going to be taking the children to the practices, what else? Groceries. Who's cleaning the bathroom this week, what is going to be all the work, like those little things that have to do with household and just being alive that you just got to do, right? But you spend some time putting it down on paper again so that you address those practicals of your household, of your finances, of just living, childcare, health, but you put them all down and you plan them out together again with your date books open, or I guess in the digital world, some kind of
your phone app open.
I like date books.
Google Calendar.
But you gotta be able to have the practicals talked about. You wanna head off a lot of disagreements, have the practicals talked about ahead of time. And now we're getting ready. I just wanted to show you my example of a date book. This is the old-fashioned thing. No subscription needed. But then we're gonna be talking about the P that can be a little challenging, the P that can be scary, but is very important, and that is protests. With this P, we're going to be talking about, and it's a period, again, about 15, 20 minutes, where you talk about, is there a request, a concern, or a complaint that you want to give to your spouse? But, and I'll put a big but in front of it, you're doing this in a, what are you asking, not what are you blaming. You're not going to say something like, you've been so cold to me this week. We haven't made love. You're not going to do that. What you're going to be doing is saying something more, I didn't mean that, but it was an example. Maybe going to be doing something more along the lines of, you know what? It's been a while since we've made love, and I really would, yeah, that'd really be cool if we could have a really romantic evening tonight because you've been looking so gorgeous lately. You're going to say something like that. You're going to protest, but the only reason I use protest because it makes a nice P sound. But the idea is bring your requests, your concerns, the things that are coming up that maybe you don't get a chance to have a talk about during the week. Those maybe even difficult conversations.
Yep.
Sometimes there may be nothing to bring up, just encouragement, but sometimes there will be.
Yes, and the key is to do it without criticism, without defensiveness, without contempt, and without stonewalling.
Absolutely.
You can have a difficult conversation. It's all in how you have it.
How you have it. Focus in on what you want to see happen.
Yes.
Rather than repeating over and over and over and over again how they hurt you. Or again, sometimes it just may be a concern. Maybe statements, something along the lines of, man, I've noticed you've been a little grouchy lately, or a little edgy. Is everything okay? Just something's different. Something along those lines. But it's an important part of a marriage check-in. And the final P, we want to throw in, but really foundational. The final P is going to be prayer, where now you have a lot to pray about. You have a lot to pray about in terms of what you appreciate. You have a lot to pray about in terms of the challenges and practicals for the week. And depending on how that conversation went, you have something to pray about. But you can have a time of prayer that is very specific, meaningful, and encouraging.
Yes, I was thinking of the prayer is the thing that brings it all together, that wraps it all together by bringing God into the middle of, because he's the one that's going to make it all happen anyway.
Prayer wraps it all up together. Whole meeting should take about no more than an hour. You don't want it to be a 6-hour jammy because you won't do it again. But here's my encouragement. Look at our other videos. Try embedding in your marriage a weekly check-in meeting with the 5 Ps. Try it. Really see how it goes. Please let us know your experience of the 5 Ps and keep us updated. And we will keep doing these videos to kind of encourage that. If we could get every couple to do the 5 Ps, we know we would have made a difference. And thanks.
This has been great.
This has been great.
Find more of our videos on our YouTube channel, Mind Change. Let us know what you think. Add comments, ask questions, give suggestions for future topics. We'd love to hear from you.